Hello everyone, today I'm going to tell you about the up-and-coming technology in the field of kinesiology with the comparison between the ParvoMedics metabolic cart and the Douglas bag method. In the articles that I gathered my research from, the goal of the studies done was to determine if the ParvoMedics metabolic cart was a valid and reliable source of measurement for resting metabolic rate, which is abbreviated RMR, and it was in comparison to the Douglas bag method, which has been the way to measure RMR in the past. Resting metabolic rate is the minimum energy required to maintain the normal functioning of the body and energy expenditure. Resting metabolic rate is used to assess the effectiveness of an athlete's training and possible illness or injury. The two methods that were compared in these studies to measure resting metabolic rate are the Douglas bag method and the ParvoMedics metabolic cart. The Douglas bag method uses indirect calorimetry by collecting expired air through a one-way mouthpiece into collection bags. The ParvoMedics metabolic cart also uses a one-way mouthpiece with a nose clip, which leads into collection bags. The analysis of the two methods includes gas volume, oxygen and carbon dioxide content. Both of these allow the calculation of oxygen consumption and carbon dioxide production. The Douglas bag method is a very good method to measure resting metabolic rate that has been used for a long time, but it is very expensive, non-portable, and you need to know how to calibrate it to get the measurements correct. One of the studies pointed out that the newer technology of the ParvoMedics metabolic cart now uses updated computerized systems capable of constantly measuring the ventilation, oxygen, and carbon dioxide gas percentages breath by breath, compared to the Douglas bag that uses older systems and only measures by 20 times per second instead of breath by breath. The major difference between the two is that the ParvoMedics cart is portable, so it can be used during practice, in the hall, in a clinic, in a hospital, and most importantly, it can be put into storage, whereas it's not just like sitting in a room taking up space when you're not using it. So at the end of the studies, of all the studies, they all showed that the ParvoMedics metabolic cart is valid and reliable and just as good at testing resting metabolic rate as the Douglas bag method. So since it's just as good, a lot of researchers, clinics, and hospitals, etc., are starting to go towards the newer technology in the field of kinesiology. So for a resting metabolic rate, for it to be tested, you need to have the person in a supine position, which is laying flat on your stomach with your hands at your sides, and then they'll hook up the mouthpiece with the clipped nose piece that covers the nose, and you have the breathing tube that leads into a into the collecting bags that feeds the information into the computerized system, and it calculates all of that as well. The ParvoMedics metabolic cart can also be used during exercise, so it's just you're on a treadmill instead of laying down, and normally you walk at a certain pace and then you go and increase the incline and the rate of speed every so often. You set it with the computer and it does it, and it calculates how your VO2 max, which is the volume of your oxygen in your body as you exercise.